Thank you, Jack. Good to hear from Mark Smith then, who, as he said, will be starting from pole position for this second race of the weekend for TCR UK. George Jackson alongside, and Rod McGovern starting third. Now, if you're thinking, hang on, they weren't the drivers on the podium yesterday, well, you're right. That's because this is a reverse grid race. The top 10 finishes inverted, and that gives us the grid for race number 2. Will Beach will share that second row with Irishman Rod McGovern. Then Adam Shepherd. So Adam Shepherd, who came from the back to 6th yesterday in his new Cupra, now starting 5th position. He did run as high as 5th actually in yesterday's race before locking up down at Beckett's and allowing Luke Sargent back through. Luke will start 6th on the grid. Then it's Brad Hutchison, who defended really well to hang on to 4th yesterday. And then the top 3 from yesterday's race. Sam Laidlaw will start from 8th, Callum Newsham 9th and Steve Laidlaw 10th. Callum Newsham yesterday threw everything at getting past Steve Laidlaw for the win, but couldn't quite make a move stick. Then it's Jeff Oldham and Alex Jones. They're the only 2 Gen 1 Cup drivers on the grid. Oldham was the winner in the Gen 1 Cup yesterday. Jones will be hoping to try and take the fight to a bit more today. Then Harry Bloor and Ryan Bensley. We're getting into some of those that had issues in race 1. Bensley had an electrical fault. Greg Saunders was a retirement as well. And Finn Leslie had contact with somebody. We're still trying to get to the bottom of who it was on the opening lap of yesterday's race, and the Hyundai Junior driver for PowerMax Racing unfortunately ended up a non-finisher, his first non-finish of the season so far. Grid being cleared of team personnel, and once that's all been done, the cars will be released onto the green flag lap ahead of another 20-minute race. Paul O'Neill back alongside me in the commentary box, looking forward, I'm sure, to some reversed grid antics. Before we hear from Paul, a quick reminder of the championship situation, because of course Adam Shepherd, who came into this weekend with a 40-point lead, saw that lead shrink slightly yesterday. He recovered pretty well to 6th place in the end, but lost a fair chunk of points to those who were on the podium. So Sam Laidlaw, 2nd place in the championship, is now 32 points adrift of Adam Shepherd, who took 9 points out of yesterday. Steve Laidlaw, yesterday's winner, is 3rd in the points ahead of Callum Newsham, and Finn Leslie still 5th. This is all before dropped scores, of course, so Finn will no doubt use that non-finish from yesterday as one of his drops, so that's not the end of the world. So, Adam Shepherd then, one to watch most definitely, but up ahead of him on the grid, a few feisty drivers who I think will be keen to try and get a good result, particularly looking to the likes of Will Beach. I think Will Beach will be hoping that he can maybe challenge for a podium here. Luke Sargent, we spoke to on the way down to the commentary box too, he's up for the fight. And of course, be fascinating to see in this one, Paul, how the likes of Steve Laidlaw do. Steve defended immaculately yesterday, but how much progress can he make now? He's got a bit of overtaking to do.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, Steve's as good as anyone as an overtaker, and I think that was one of the better controlled races. Forget it's Steve Laidlaw, and he's not done much racing. That, in general, was one of the best drives. He never really had to defend. I know the Hyundai behind him is a little bit older, but in Callum Newsham's hands it's still very fast, as we've seen. He was very, very good. And yeah, do you know what? If he wants to win this championship, he's got to get up the front of these kind of races. So let's see what happens.
And that certainly is something he wants to do. You know, he and Sam both are, every time I talk to them, talking about points, talking about fighting for the championship, where Adam is, because they really obviously see Adam Shepherd as their biggest rival, and so they're definitely in this to win it, championship-wise. But I've always said, you win or lose a championship in reverse grid races generally, because you will often see the same group of drivers qualify at the front and run at the front in races 1 and 3. These reverse grid races, though, can make or break a season. If you have a couple of really good reverse grid races whilst your rivals have a couple of bad ones, you can take a whole chunk of points out of them.
Yeah, and what you usually see is the most experienced person, who's usually at the front, will come through here, because if you are not too experienced and you're not too sure or au fait with battling with people that you're not familiar with, that can cause a problem. But experienced people usually make the right decision and get the job done, where you'll see somebody overtake one person, a really experienced person will wait for the people in front battling, know where they're going to be slow, and slingshot. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I think that, you know, Mark Smith and people like that will just be happy to be at the front for as long as they can, but they'll drop into where they think they'll be comfortable and not be in striking distance of someone for an accident.
Yes, but then you've got that closing speed, haven't you? The quick drivers coming from the back, the slightly less experienced drivers maybe at the front, and at some point they inevitably meet in the middle, so it can be a fairly breathless opening few laps in these races.
Yeah, and also, sorry to go on again, but they're mostly Gen 2 cars. They're quick cars. The VZs are there as well, but the cars at the front, they're not Gen 1s, are they?
No, that's a good point actually, yeah. So they should be able to maintain a reasonable pace at the start of the race, which is only a few moments away now. The second race of the weekend, then the reverse grid race here at Silverstone. Eyes to the lights on the gantry. It is Mark Smith and George Jackson in the Audi on that front row of the grid together. The revs are rising, the red lights are on. They will go out after quite a long hold now, and we're away and racing. Good start made by Brad Hutchison. Oh, Shepherd has stalled. Adam Shepherd has stalled from 5th on the grid. Major drama already for the points leader. Hutchison and Newsham leaning on each other, but Adam Shepherd has gone nowhere. Disaster for Shepherd. That I did not see coming. I wondered why Hutchison pulled so aggressively to the left. It was to avoid this car that has only now got moving. Mark Smith leads at Beckett. Steve Labour on the inside. There's a bit of a run with. Oh, that was Will Beaches into. He slides into McGovern. Both of the Gen 2 Cupras off wide, and Steve Laidlaw nips up the inside into, I think, 3rd place.
Mark Smith, though, what a start that is. I think he's still in the lead as they go down to Brooklands. The right rear is the one you've got to watch out for. If you brake too late and turn in too early, it will start to rotate. Is that going to happen for anyone? Look at Callum Newsham trying to get round the outside of Luke Sargent. Oh, he's gone wide.
Smith's had a wobble. Jackson alongside Steve Laidlaw could be in the lead here from 10th on the grid. Steve Laidlaw is on the inside of both of them. Phenomenal stuff. Any question marks over his racecraft ability well and truly put to bed, and he leads the pack through. Callum Newsham's on the grass, banging doors with Luke Sargent. This is very frantic stuff indeed. Towards Cops Corner we go. Somehow Steve Laidlaw leads. It's Hutchison second, Smith third, but he's wide again. Sargent nips to the inside, and Callum Newsham desperately trying to get through this pack quickly, because the last thing he wants is Steve Laidlaw disappearing up the road.
Exactly that, but now he's got Sargent in front of him, and Sargent's car is pretty quick, but Callum's done with him, and Sam Laidlaw's probably going to get the same, but that's the speed of Sargent's car. Now watch this against this Hyundai of Callum Newsham. This is where he's going to have to defend, because the Audi is a super slippery quick car.
Down into the braking zone at Brooklands, Newsham does defend, but this is where the Hyundai was absolutely electrifying yesterday. The rotation through the left hand, a bit too much rotation for Sargent. He runs wide and maybe opens the door for Sam Laidlaw. Sam on the outside into Luffield will look to try and get the better traction. That's a great camera angle to show that extra speed you get from the wide turn-in, but he just ran out of front grip mid-corner.
Hutchison's right up there. He's right with Laidlaw. What does he cross the line at? I think he's lost a little bit of time maybe on that lap, but he's only 7/10 behind him. He looked a little bit closer than that, but I've got to take me hat off. Steve Laidlaw, mate, you've answered all the questions. You stayed out of trouble and got the job done early doors.
I can't believe he's in the lead. By the end of lap one, from 10th on the grid to the lead is, and the people he's overtaken to get there, at Sam Laidlaw, Callum Newsham, quick drivers, Brad Hutchison, and the way he handled himself through that final sector on lap one, that was top quality racecraft. He anticipated the situation, read it, reacted to it, and benefited from it.
Yeah, like a veteran driver.
Yeah.
The person we usually talk about like that is Adam Shepherd, who had a disastrous start. Is that a new car thing where he's not quite got the clutch bite right, or he's already made one start in the car, but we don't know anyway. It could be a problem with the car. We don't know.
Well, Shepherd is now back on the tail end of the queue. He's in behind Alex Jones's Golf, should be able to start picking up a few positions. We might see him. There he is. So he's already gone past Alex Jones onto the tail of Harry Bloor. Where can Adam Shepherd realistically hope to finish here? He's still got 16 3/4 minutes to go, and the pack is quite tightly bunched.
If he gets a safety car, he could be in the top 5, but I think he's not really going to get higher than maybe 6th, is he? I think it's going to be difficult. He's got that compensation weight, isn't he? That's the problem. When you're at the back and carrying weight, it's a nightmare. If you're at the front and you're carrying weight, you can stay in the toe of people. Hutchison now is having to defend.
Yeah, Callum Newsham has been quicker than Hutchison really this weekend. He will want to get on with this before Laidlaw gets too far up the road. Brad defends though. We saw yesterday how well he can defend. Right round the outside goes Callum Newsham. The confidence he's got in the back of that car on turning into Brooklands. He goes right around the outside of Brad.
That is devastating for Hutchison, but he gives him a little tap. But that'll be devastating to see that from Hutchison. That Hyundai with that little bit of weight loss is amazing. Now we're back to what we had yesterday, which is Laidlaw versus Newsham, and Laidlaw knows everywhere where Callum's going to be quick.
I mean, Callum must be thinking, surely not again, not another 15 minutes that I'll be staring at the back of that Cupra. But maybe he's made some changes to the car and learned a few things. That's Ryan Bensley out wide. That car didn't want to turn in, did it? Yeah, he's off the pace, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's got that electrical problem back this week.
Not been a good weekend for him, has it really? There's Rod McGovern, meanwhile, on the inside of Mark Smith. Two Cupra drivers together. Rod in the car that carried Carl Boardley to championship success in TCR UK. Ran wide on the exit, though, and Smith's got him back, I think.
Yeah, he ran really wide, didn't he? He had the job done, but that just shows you, if you use the shorter part of the track, you can still, even though you're going slower, the shorter part and the shorter radius can be a lot faster.
Yep, so there he is, back ahead of the Jolt Cupra as they come round. The next car behind them, in fact, is Adam Shepherd, isn't it? So Shepherd's up another position or two, knocking on the door of the top 10. Leaders come through. Fastest lap of the race for Callum Newsham, a 58.534, about a tenth and a half quicker than the race leader. Catching Steve Laidlaw, I don't think will be much of a problem for Callum, but what can he do today that he didn't try yesterday to find a way past?
Yeah, this is the thing. It's going to be a lunge, isn't it? Into the pits, Ryan Bensley, and that. With that car not turning into cops, I'm wondering if it is electrical. I'm not too sure. I think it's electric power steering on that car, and it might have just chunked up and he'd not be able to turn, or he just felt it going. He's got a shame.
Down towards Brooklands we go. Battle for third now starting to bubble up as Brad Hutchison comes under pressure from Luke Sargent. This was very much the story for much of yesterday's race, really, with these two joined in race one by Adam Shepherd in a battle for fourth place. The whole pack, though, Paul, is very, very close together, and credit to the man at the back of this group, George Jackson's 6th position in that Gen 2 Audi, going well.
Yeah, George Jackson's right in there as well. What did we say before we come in the comms box to Luke Sargent?
Well, we were expecting big things, weren't we? If he's going to get a podium, though, he'll be going some to get past Brad Hutchison. That wasn't easy to do yesterday.
Yeah, but I told him if he was in fourth place and the checkered flag was out, that he just needed to come in the pits, so he didn't need to speak to anyone.
He'll probably do that anyway to avoid having to talk to you and Carl further later, even if he is in the podium places, especially if he's in the podium places. Round Beckett's they go. There is George Jackson. Really, really impressed with this.
Very, very good stuff from George Jackson. Stayed out of trouble, didn't he, on that first lap? It's easy to try and battle and defend from that great starting position he had, and then just lose it all. So he's backing it. Look at the brakes. That was far too much. That was like a torpedo, like a cruise missile in 1991. That.
Yeah, that was very late on the brakes, Callum Newsham. Now, I would say that's maybe a bit of frustration creeping in. It's a bit early for that, maybe, but in a way, he will be frustrated because he already knows what's likely to happen here. He's going to have to try something adventurous, really late on the brakes, or try and force that mistake. I don't think a mistake will come though.
No, do you know what that was actually? I've had that in front-wheel drive cars before. If you brake too late, you just can't. You can't. If you turn, you'll spin. That's probably why he straightened the wheel, stopped it from locking up the rears, and that would have spun him out. So, but it just gives you an indication of how late he is willing to brake. Luke Sargent now defending, and Sam Laidlaw is going to be a difficult proposition.
I don't think Sam's going to be ultra happy with how this weekend's panned out. Didn't quite have the pace of his father and Callum Newsham yesterday, and then he's just not quite had the rub of the green in the early stages. He's been caught at the back of that leading group, whilst the likes of Steve and Callum have made their way to the front of it. And once things settle down, Paul, it's not easy to overtake.
No, but he has got a little bit more weight as he's in his dad, from being a bit further up in the championship. But that is, that's going to be a worry for him, because wherever his dad is, he just needs to be a place behind.
Yeah. And at the moment, he is 5 places behind. He's in 5th position as they cross the timing line, just under 12 minutes to go. Callum Newsham then continuing to chase after the race leader on the previous lap. He was actually half a tenth or so slower. New fastest lap, by the way, Adam Shepherd, a 58.2. He is up into 9th position now, in a bit of clean air behind Will Beak. But Adam Shepherd, that is worth a bonus point, remember. That could prove to be significant come the end of the season. And he is now inside the top 10 positions. Gen 1 Cup, by the way, led by Jeff Alden. A much smaller margin, though, in this race than it was yesterday, only about 6 seconds clear of TCR rookie Alex Jones.
Too bad, too shabby. Let's see what goes on here, though. But this front group are pretty close, aren't they? They're all still in tow. George Jackson just dropping away a little bit. But do you know what's good about George? Battling for P6, or battling in P6. He's not running wide, and he's not stressing the car. So, yeah, let's see what happens. But there's the 117. There's Adam Shepherd in his new VZ, and this will be massive data collection from him, and this has got to just now be for him damage limitation, as he is rotating round in 9th place.
Yes, but now in the 58.1s, so creeping towards lap record pace. The lap record, remember, set by Steve Laidlaw yesterday, 58.094. So we're within a few hundredths of that now, as far as Adam Shepherd's pace is concerned. And he really, I think that would be quite satisfying if he could nick the lap record away from Steve Laidlaw with all of that extra weight that he's carrying as championship leader. That would be a big, big confidence boost for Adam Shepherd, and sort of reiterates the fact that he's made the right call to go for the new Cupra. There were a few raised eyebrows when we learnt coming into the weekend that he was going to change car when he was already leading the championship, but if he can now prove definitively that he's quicker than the other new Cupra drivers, that will make him very happy indeed. Sam Laidlaw here, one of those other new Cupra drivers, to the outside of Luke Sargent towards Cops.
Right, let's have a look at the speed of this Audi versus the VZ. Sam looks a bit scared there, doesn't he? He's wobbling over to the left. Will he get round the outside? If he gets that done, which I think he might have got that done, round the outside of Cops, that was proper.
Oh, there's Sargent off! That's Sargent off towards the barriers.
That's a big hit.
Oh no, that's high speed out of Cops corner. And well, we didn't see what happened, but we do know they were side by side going into that corner. Luke was on the inside, and unfortunately it's been spat out of line towards the barriers. There is the Audi, and that is a big hit.
That's a big hit. Look at that. So that has got front damage. Looks like that right front tyre's out askew. So is that the left front that's took the hit? That's going to be a safety car. They've got to make a big decision now, because that safety car needs to be deployed pretty quickly. Otherwise, they can just hold it as yellows. Let's see.
Yeah, safety car balls are out. Safety car balls are out. So race being neutralised then. That's not a huge surprise. That is not a nice place to go off the road at Cops Corner.
Shepherd.
Big advantage for Adam Shepherd, yes, although he had almost caught Will Beach anyway, to be fair. But Will now catch up to this leading group. So yeah, once we do go racing again, there's a good chance, I think, that Adam Shepherd can make even further progress. There is some good news. Luke Sargent out of the car. I was a bit worried there, because that is a big, big hit into a tyre wall, which is slightly better than a concrete wall, but it's still fairly solid. You can see from the damage it's done to the car that was not a pleasant ride.
I'd be very, very, very surprised, and I hope I'm wrong, if that car is out later, because that, on that left-hand side, that's what's took the full force of it. So yeah, safety car out. That was a great call by the by the staff here, because the clerk has got a big decision to make, because you've got to make that decision so quick, because they're approaching that first corner straight away. So yeah, that was I wonder if he's just lost it by trying to stay. He was on the inside, wasn't he? Yeah.
So hard to know. There could have been contact, there might not have been contact. We really don't know. Maybe if we could see the right front corner of Sam Laidlaw's car, that might give us a bit of a clue, but only the drivers involved directly will be able to tell us. Sam Laidlaw has dropped down to 15th place. He's not pitted. Is he carrying damage then, I wonder, Paul?
What's gone on there then? Did he go off and we didn't see that? Maybe. You don't even know, like you can say, you can have two cars go off without contact trying to avoid each other, so let's not speculate on that. But they have, so the 101 of Laidlaw, Sam Laidlaw, has gone awry somewhere. Why is that? Because it was a bold move round the outside, and it only needs one of the cars to have a little bit of oversteer or understeer.
I think he's actually stopped. I think he's actually stopped on track, because he's not come through sector 1 on this lap, so he has stopped at the same time as the incident for Sargent. So both of them have stopped at the same time. Obviously we know where Sargent is. What we don't know is where Laidlaw's gone.
There is a tracking device, isn't there, on
TSL, so let's have a little click on that. Can't see it. Can't see Sargent.
There, is he?
Just says missing.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
We know that.
Your name's on there as well, Andy.
Yes, well, let's see if we can piece this together then. Where is Sam Laidlaw? This is where the incident happened.
Can I just say, let's just all calm down a second. George Jackson's in P4.
Yes, good spot actually. I missed that. Oh, there is Sam Laidlaw. Right, so he's gone off to the right. The Audi of Luke Sargent's gone off to the left. There is damage, I think, isn't there, to the right rear maybe of that Cupra, which would not make a lot of sense because he was on the inside. Maybe not. That could be a trick of the light.
Can we see the? It looks like the bottom half of that car is missing. It looks like the I can see the diffuser. So that means to me that there is a piece of carbon fibre that runs below the bottom of that car. We shouldn't be able to see that barrier. What I'm saying, underneath the car. Yeah, that looks to me like it's. Oh no, it's not. That was actually the stickers. I thought that was the side of the. When the Marshal's legs didn't appear, I was like, "Is that Marshall walking on air?"
In your defence, the white stickers are exactly the same colour as the white barriers. That's the same colour as your shorts now. After you tried to climb over them this morning, so I can understand why you got mixed up on that. But yeah, no, the rear of the car that is damaged, isn't it? The rear diffuser is definitely hanging loose. So I'm not sure he's got it backwards. I guess.
Just to let you know, Shepherd is having a disaster here because this clock is counting down super quick and Laidlaw's car's still there. I don't think there'll be any barrier work, but it did take a hit. So
good point.
They're going to need 2 flatbeds. This could be a safety car and 1 lap.
Yeah, this is why in the Civic Cup race earlier on, when we had the oil spill at Cobb's Corner, they red flagged the race completely just to make sure that we had time then to get the restart in. But of course, they can't do that for every race because there are other championships racing here this weekend. It's not just TCR and Civic Cup, so we've got to make sure we don't eat into the timetable. We'd all quite like to have a bit of a lunch break as well, if possible. The marshals need that more than anyone else, so they're going to keep running behind safety car for now. Every lap that the safety car is out is a lap less for Adam Shepherd to make progress through the order, and a lap less as well for Callum Newsham to do something about Steve Laidlaw. So it's all sort of falling into Steve Laidlaw's lap here, isn't it?
Well, that's nice. Jade Edwards has just sent me a picture of her and her sister and the dog Zoe, saying, "Your TCR comms shrieks are making us laugh." Zoe, the black Labrador, does not look impressed, Andy. Look.
Oh no, she doesn't, does she?
No, but to be fair, neither does Jade. Chloe looks sound, her sister looks sound, we're alright.
I'm scared to look at anything you show me on your phone today, Paul, I'll be honest.
Tell everyone about James Thompson and Jack Benyon and what I've shown you before.
Got 4 minutes left of this second TCR UK race of the weekend, and Steve Laidlaw is perhaps now staring down the barrel of back-to-back race victories. I mean, that really is astonishing, isn't it? I'm not convinced we're going to get a lot more racing in here, Paul.
No, we're not. I think I'm going to give it till 2 minutes and I'm going to run up the pit lane because this is going to finish.
Well, you don't have to run a spa this time because in theory they're stopping under the podium just next to the commentary box, but we shall wait and see.
Yeah, that's actually a good shout.
Glad I reminded you of that, otherwise you'd have gone missing in action.
I'm a bit worried about Luke's car, you know, because I mean going forward, because that's a lot of damage and a lot of money to fix. That's hit hard, so that you never know. Look at the wheels.
It's gone in. It looks like it's gone in fairly flush, doesn't it, on the side? So in a way, okay, the right front suspension is damaged clearly, but when it goes in on a corner, that can really rip the car apart. The worry will be the chassis underneath, of course.
That front right is really worrying me. Really, I hope they get that on there. I would not be anywhere underneath that car because that front right. Oh, that car has had a big hit. Wow. Well, listen, they've done that more times than I've ever done it, so they must be confident. But that right front is hanging off. So that's how much damage there is, and that's gearbox, and that can be anything that's drilled into the engine.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah. So, well, the team will be anxious to get the car back and take a look at it. Shame that for Luke. Yeah, he's a good guy. He was due a good result, I felt, but it's not going to happen in this one, and perhaps not now until the next round of the championship, but we will wait and see. 2 minutes 20 to go. That car will be out of harm's way potentially by the end of this lap. The question, I guess, is what progress has been made on the Sam Laidlaw recovery. Did they get a flatbed truck there at the same time? If they did, we might get a lap of racing. But I think if we don't go racing this time, it will be a race that sadly ends behind the safety car. So we'll keep an eye on those safety car lights. We'll see whether we get any more green flag running. If we don't, though, what an interesting result it is. Steve Laidlaw, Callum Newsham, Brad Hutchison back on the podium. George Jackson and Finn Leslie, both of them actually standout drivers in this one. Jackson in particular, because he was in that lead group anyway. And Finn Leslie doing what he always seems to do and being there at the end.
Is it going to take 1 minute 30 seconds for them to get round here, or are they going to see a checkered flag?
I think they will get, well, the last lap was 2 minutes, 2 minutes 5 behind the safety car, so they'll get back this time before the time elapses. But if we don't have lights out on the safety car, then by the next time they come round, I think the time will have run out. Are those lights?
Lights are out, I think, aren't they?
It looked like they might be. The pace has certainly slowed down. They're giving them the best possible chance, aren't they, to get the track clear. And we need to see on the next shot, really, where the safety car is. If it's accelerating towards the pit lane, we're going to have a one-lap shootout.
Oh my God, that's really bad. Oh, sorry, what I was just going to say was, Shepherd in 7th, how much of a chance will he take trying to go beach Leslie Jackson? Can he get to 4th? lights are out.
He's got a lap to do it. The lights are out on the safety car. Steve Laidlaw's bunching them all together. Callum Newsham, of course, is going to be on his toes to try and get a good restart. We have a one-lap shootout on our hands here at Silverstone, and a good restart for Steve Laidlaw. Kept them bunched up until the last minute, stepped on the loud pedal, and he's built a margin already over the second place man. Keep an eye on Shepherd in the background, already hunting to the inside line, trying to get past Will Beach. He's not done it into Cox Corner, but I reckon Beckett's will be an opportunity.
Will let him through. He's his teammates. Got
True.
to.
Good point, both Capture Motorsport drivers, and yet look, steps well out of the way. Here are the leaders. Callum Newsham already back on the tail then of Steve Laidlaw, who is a bit wide, is he not?
Oh, he is!
Corner, the leader is out wide.
Yes!
And Callum Newsham has a chance. He's up alongside, heading towards his favourite part of the circuit. Ducks back into the slipstream. There is still a slight overlap. He'll get the side draft, and we know, Paul, how good he is on the outside line. He's not quite alongside. Steve Laidlaw holds the inside line, and Callum Newsham is frustrated once again. Shepherd to the inside of Finn Leslie at the back of the group, but Callum Newsham is tapping Morse code on the back of Steve Laidlaw's Cupra. It's not going to matter, I don't think. Out of the final turn they come. The Hyundai's got the better traction, but doesn't have enough time to get alongside. To the timing line they go. The checkered flag awaits, and for the second race this weekend, it waves first for Steve Laidlaw. A winning margin once again of around a quarter of a second from a hard-charging Callum Newsham. Brad Hutchison third.